Welcome to Hail Varsity Radio, the voice of Husker Nation. Insight, opinion, expertise, with the biggest and best names talking Nebraska across the state. Join the show on Twitter at Hail Varsity and at Schmidt_radio. Call in at 402-466-ESPN or 1-800-825-5865. Here's Chris Schmidt.
Welcome to it. It's Hail Varsity Radio. We're presented by Currency. For all your equipment financing needs, go Currency. Sad news this morning, the passing of Coach Mike Leach. And we'll share some emails from listeners. We'll hear from Mitch Sherman, Bill Bender in today's show. But guys, Chris Schmidt, we're going to make today about the Pirate. Going to honor the Pirate. Totally one of our favorite guests and just a good dude. I've said that a lot today, but great dude, very caring, very generous for his time, and treated people just fantastic. He made a lot of people's day or moment or just night. And he'd spend so much time, whether you make a cup of coffee or wanting to get a selfie. There was footage today of Leach taking pictures in the stands. This might have been year one at Washington State or year two. Well, his team's brawling, literally brawling on the field. And Pirates up there in the student section getting selfies. But we are so heartbroken for his family and his football family, his family, and all those that have been touched by Coach Leach. And this is the statement earlier this morning from Mississippi State. In a statement the family released today, Mike was a giving and attentive husband, father, and grandfather, and he was able to participate in organ donation at the UNMC as a final act of charity. We are supported and uplifted by the outpouring of love and prayers from family, friends, Mississippi State, the hospital staff, the football fans around the world, and thank you for sharing the joy of our beloved husband and father's life. And that's the word for Coach Leach is joy. He brought so much joy, and we remember him and honor him today with tribute. Elijah, you've got the rundown sheet. We have been blessed because of his generosity, and charity is a word used in the statement, and his charity with us for going all the way back to 2012. And it's something to think about with him. A couple of emails to read, and this is from Robert. Chris, know you must be saddened by the passing of your friend Coach Leach. I love listening to him on ESPN Lincoln, telling funny stories. Such an interesting character, so bright and witty. Retelling his stories and remembering Mike will keep him alive in our hearts. Absolutely. You got to smile and be thankful for the moments that you have. And that's how I'm going to approach things. Chip emails in. I listened to your pod this evening and appreciate your tribute and personal reflection with your history of Coach Leach. Been a fan of his for years. Saddened to hear about his health situation and his passing. Prayers to him and his family. Chip, thanks for your listenership and writing in. This was from a coworker, and this was pure Leach. You'd find some common ground, and you'd have a good time together. Chris, listen every day. Thought you did a wonderful job with Coach's News yesterday. And the story about the rotten steaks was hilarious. I loved it when he was on your show. An accolade to have him on. My husband and another business partner ran into the Pirate at a sports merchandise show in Vegas a few years back. He asked where we're from. We said Nebraska. He was like, you want to go have some beers? You're from Nebraska. So that was really cool. Elijah, a thought from you on the Pirate before we start the tribute. Just a word of warning with this first tribute. If you've got little ones in the car, it's it's Santa related. So I'll let you do the math on that. But Elijah, a thought on the pirate, and then Connor, a thought on the pirate.
Well, it's been hard today to go back and watch all these videos of the good times with Mike Leach of various interviews. And that's what I spent the afternoon here doing, is going and cutting together this long highlight package of the best moments of him being on our show. And it's just put a smile on my face, being able to listen to Mike Leach in his own way, tell stories and give his thoughts on the world. It's been a little bit fulfilling in here to just go back and listen to, as you said, the past over 10 years of interviews with Mike Leach and go find the single best answers that he has pretty much in every
There's a lot of good answers.
There's a ton of them. And for reference, I'm currently in the process of putting together a highlight package, which has come out to 42 minutes long of his best individual moments from 10 plus years on this show. And we're going to hope to get that up on social media and podcast form so people can take a listen to it, just because there's been so many great moments through the years. And it's put a smile on my face to get a chance to go back and relive some of those.
Yeah, we love you, Pirate, and miss you. Connor, a thought from you, bud?
Well, I never got to...
Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Are we good now? Yes.
Now we are.
Okay, cool. Well, I never got to be in one of those video or interviews just because that's not how the schedule ends up working out. But just from a fan perspective, I mean, he was really, really funny. Obviously, a lot of people know that. He did some, outlandish things as a coach. You mentioned the selfie thing while his team was literally having a fight on the field after a game. So he was just fun. I was never like a fan of the teams that he coached, but you always kind of knew what was going on because Coach Leach was coaching them, and he was either saying some funny things at a press conference or doing something funny on the sidelines. So he will be dearly missed, and definitely a big part of the culture that is college football. And I know a lot of fans are mourning this sad day.
Yep, fingerprints all over it. Without further ado, let's get the tribute to the Pirates started. Fake or real trees, and the part about Santa. We love you, Pirate. Now I got to ask you, with the holiday season, are you a fake tree or real tree guy?
Well, prefer real trees. Like most people have copped out and do fake trees. Yeah, it's been straight fake trees for the last couple of years. I like real trees better.
And did you eventually break the news to the young ones about Santa, or did you let them learn on their own?
My oldest daughter, it was a bit of a jolt, the Santa thing. And then after that, if I remember correctly, we had my oldest daughter convinced and, wanted her to have that experience believing in Santa, which I was mixed on that, because I'm still a little pissed on the deception that took place with me and Santa and my parents years ago, and my oldest daughter, if I recall correctly, she was into Santa and was inclined to believe in Santa, and my wife was more into pushing that than I was, and I imagine she's still mad too. She's got a temper, and so she didn't like the fact that she'd been led down a dark path from the Santa thing. And then my next daughter, it's almost like she knew from the beginning that there wasn't Santa Claus, and it was sort of like she says, "Well, of course it's not real. Everybody knows that." She's one of those that saw through it right from the beginning. And then from there on, the other kids, it was just, I guess, osmosis from the older kids that no, there wasn't Santa. So they had a lot better time of it than I did.
Oh, well, tell me about your experience. What happened?
Well, I'm going along, and see, back then Santa was more heavily reinforced, I think, than it is now. And back then, Santa this, Santa that, and I've been picking away at the Santa story for years because I've always been skeptical, and I mean skeptical to the point where, as it got towards Christmas and Mom was kind of suspiciously ducking in and ducking out, well, I would go on search parties and search the house surreptitiously and find the presents and things stashed away. And I'm even to the point, and this is not the type of child someone wants, but nevertheless, I'd have it worked out what I wanted, and I'd even do stuff like when she was going to be gone for a while, and I was a master of it. I would unwrap the presents, get a paring knife and just slit the tape, where it was wrapped, slip the box out, check it out, play with it for half an hour, put it back in, tape it back up, and look surprised at Christmas. Well, then it got to be where, well, we got all these presents. Because, see, I knew that, all right, I'd seen some of these presents, but there was always something, because she'd wrap it and they'd end up under the tree, but there would always be something on Christmas Day that wasn't part of the wrapped ones I discovered. And basically they were generally somebody, like whether it was a younger brother or sister getting a tricycle or something, somebody was getting something big enough that it wasn't practical to wrap. Or something misshapen, so it wasn't practical to wrap. And so then what they would do is they'd, of course, set that under the tree. And so others aren't left out with unwrapped things under the tree in the morning. So you'd wake up in the morning and boom, there's some extra stuff. And that would include like if a tricycle or something big. And so so nobody's left out. They would ensure that everybody got something under the tree the morning of. And so, so then it's like, I start out with a line of questioning. Of course, and this went on for years. I start out with a line of questioning. So does Santa get us all of the presents? No, Grandma and Grandpa get us some presents, well, how about other things like this or like that? And then I'd say, well, how about the Daniel Boone gun that I got last year? Did Santa get me that, or did you get me that? And,
how do you communicate between the two?
Occasionally she'd get stuck and she'd say, well, I don't remember, sometimes, but, there's, and then it eventually worked its way towards, well, the stuff on Christmas, that's out there, on Christmas morning, that's definitely Santa, and so I was starting to close in, but the thing is, I was still a believer, and somewhere along the line, and there wasn't as, then it was the type of thing on TV, you had 3 channels, which amazingly, several of the shows that I would watch are still on. Charlie Brown Christmas, the Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer that's like made out of puppets or whatever, and Burl Ives is a snowman in the thing. I mean, so remarkably, some of them still on. But anyway, as I start closing in, eventually, you could tell because the parents had that expression on their face. We need to have a talk about something, and so, and this is as Mike. And keep in mind, the intense questioning had gone on for like 3 years.
They're tired of it, huh?
And so then eventually it's like they got a goofy expression on their face, and it's leading into Christmas, as I recall correctly. It's like probably this time of year in relation to Christmas. We have to have a talk. Okay, now this stuff about Santa Claus. Well, it's like my parents had never lied to me. I mean, it was the loss of innocence. It was, you can't go home anymore, and it's not the same. I mean, it's all those things. And then I even started rattling through. Well, I asked about this, and I asked about this, and I asked about wham right in the face. I mean, there isn't a nice. Up north with a bunch of friendly elves pulls all this stuff off. And I would have to say our family, my sister was like, oh, well, whatever. and then my brother he was younger, and he was just trying to stay out of harm's way from me and my sister. So, because she was a fairly, my sister was and still is a person that'll put her hands on you. And But anyway, so you're really opening up the holidays on a positive note with your listeners. So Merry Christmas to everybody.
We'll warn them. Santa's got a sweatshop and it's breaking and entering. Mike Leach with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, before we say goodbye, got to get your thoughts on UCLA. Nebraska is in the Foster Farms Bowl against the Bruins. You guys had a great win on the road at UCLA this year.
Bruins very explosive. Explosive team would be the best way to describe it. That running back is their best player. Quarterback's very talented, but the running back is the best player. And Perkins is his name, and he's really a good player. And the biggest thing is, it's like all these guys. Of course, Nebraska is the same way. I mean, the offensive line and defensive line, they're just big physical guys. I found their secondary to be pretty athletic. They're young, but don't let that deceive you. They're pretty darn athletic. I thought UCLA was a talented group. We played Oregon, too. Oregon's so fast. UCLA is bigger than Oregon, though. UCLA is good, and a good combination of speed and athleticism. There have been times that they have, and the quarterback's a good passer, but, where they have a little more dimension and maybe to the way they throw it some. They're more run, play action downfield is kind of what they are.
Okay. Coach Leach, that was back when Nebraska made a bowl game.
Yeah, throwback. And Nebraska had physical lines of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Throwback.
More on the tribute today for Coach Leach. Mitch Sherman's with us next on Hail Varsity.
If you're not already a Hail Varsity subscriber, what are you waiting for? Sign up for a Hail Varsity subscription to receive exclusive breaking news coverage of Nebraska football, volleyball, and more. Subscriptions include 10 print issues of the Hail Varsity magazine per year, the annual Hail Varsity football yearbook, plus complete access to everything on HailVarsity.com. Visit HailVarsity.com to sign up today and get your first month free. If you're not already a Hail Varsity subscriber, what are you waiting for? Sign up for a Hail Varsity subscription to receive exclusive breaking news coverage of Nebraska football, volleyball, and more. Subscriptions include 10 print issues of the Hail Varsity magazine per year, the annual Hail Varsity football yearbook, plus complete access to everything on HailVarsity.com. Visit HailVarsity.com to sign up today and get your first month free.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The holidays are here, and it's time to celebrate at Hail Varsity Club. Whether you're looking for an intimate business lunch or a 100-person holiday party, Hail Varsity Club offers an elevated experience with food and drink packages sure to please any crowd. There are only a few premium dates left in December. Visit HailVarsityClub.com to learn more about the private events and book yours now.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Oh, the new doctor is drop dead gorgeous.
Oh, please, he's just another RV League educated surgeon with good hair.
No, he's different.
Nurses, we got a Class C motorhome with a detached driver's side mirror. Meet me in the OR. Stat.
Right away, doctor.
No, she's on break. I'll handle this one.
Oh, you conniving little...
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility in your vehicle and save $10 on a pair of Trico Force wiper blades now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Don't risk your safety because of bad wiper blades. Be ready for any weather. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, it's Hail Varsity, presented by Currency. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark in. More of Mike Leach stories from Coach Leach when he was with us and joined the show. Tough day in college football. Mitch Sherman with us. Mitch has done amazing work for a number of years with The Athletic and ESPN at Mitch Sherman on Twitter. Read him with The Athletic. Mitch, I'm going to start off with just a story or an anecdote in your travels around the college for Coach Leach.
Yeah, not so much in my travels, although I did get to interact with him, and it always was exactly that. It was interacting. With a lot of coaches, they're talking to you and you're listening. But with Leach, it was definitely always an interaction whenever I had the chance to see him, and I know whenever anybody had the chance to see him in our line of work. And really, just anybody on the street. I heard from people today who knew him in Florida, people who came across him in his time in Key West who had nothing to do with football and were shaken up and had their hearts broken today by the news because they didn't necessarily know him as a football coach. Some people there knew him as just a guy that they would see that was recognizable and was Coach Leach to so many different people. I remember him well from time holding court at Big 12 Media Days, from his time in the post-game interviews after Texas Tech Nebraska games in the 2000s decade before the Huskers left for the Big Ten. And then in my time at ESPN, I relayed this story to you last night when we were chatting on text about Mike Leach. I reached out to him, I don't think ever called him before, but I got his number from somebody associated with Washington State and was writing a story for ESPN at the time, I believe around bowl season, about the prominence of freshman quarterbacks and the emergence of young players. And, Leach was as much an expert on quarterback play and offensive play as anybody in the country. So he was a good resource for this article about why young players were having so much success. And I just called him and he answered, which is rare for a Pac-12 head coach, a Power 5 head coach. And we chatted for a solid 20 minutes about that subject and who knows what else. I just remember being entertained, and I don't even know what he talked about, and that was never really the point. And I spent a good chunk of this morning watching YouTube videos of Leach talking about anything and everything, and it wasn't that he was talking about the coin toss or the Pac-12 mascots or dressing up as Santa Claus or teaching driver's ed to his kids, whatever. It didn't matter what it was. It was just the way that he had about himself to be so unassuming and just to be willing to talk about any subject at any time was truly amazing and unique for somebody in his position.
That's well said, Mitch. And yeah, he covered all sorts of ground all the time, and it was so much fun to, like you say, interact with him and hear his stories. And college, his fingerprints are all over college football. You look at his coaching tree, and then you look at the adoption of his style of offense with the Mahomes style quarterbacks. Mahomes is his own deal, obviously, but I mean, it's grown. It's really cool to see the sport we love covering and his impact that'll last forever.
Well, he's made it intensely more interesting. Even without him here, college football is a more interesting place, an entertaining place because of him. And it's not just college football. It's all over in high school football, even states like Nebraska, where for years, for generations, we watched the I formation and the option and the wishbone, all kinds of different variations of the running game. The air raid has made its way in to places that you never expect it to happen. And you'll see it at Memorial Stadium on cold November days with state championships on the line, just as often as you'll see teams lining up with a fullback and an I-back and 2 tight ends. So he was one of the godfathers. And I know he learned from Hal Mumme, and, Hal Mumme probably was the ultimate godfather of that air raid offense. But Leach is the one who took it widespread, who took it mainstream, and who helped create characters like Cliff Kingsbury and other quarterbacks at Texas Tech that then led to the superstardom of Patrick Mahomes, and then quarterbacks all over the country at places that were associated with Texas Tech or not associated with Texas Tech. And I think that's the true mark of a coaching genius, and that his system is adopted not only by the coaches and the players who are directly associated with him, but it was also adopted and continues to be adopted by coaches who never came across him, maybe even coaches who never listened to him talk at a clinic or who meant to model their system after him. They modeled it after somebody who modeled it after somebody who modeled it after him. There are 4th and 5th generation air raid coaches out there who came from the Leach Mumme tree, whether they know it or not, or intended it to be that way or not. And that speaks, again, like so much else that we've talked about today, to his impact on the sport.
Well, Mitch, you mentioned that, but I think what speaks to the legacy of Coach Leach is, I mean, as you said, there's passing combos in college football and really in the NFL and high school that wouldn't be around if it wasn't for Mike Leach. He really did change football forever, and yet on a day like today, we're not talking about his impact in the game of football. We're talking about those human-to-human moments with Mike Leach where somebody met him on the street or that one moment in a press conference. I think that speaks to who he was as a person and what made him so great.
And that's something about college football that I think he reminded of us today is just what a small place it is, and what a tight-knit community the sport is. And it doesn't take a moment like this to recognize that. A moment where, and this is so rare, to lose someone who is in that position. Normally we hear about coaches in their 80s and 90s who are passing away, guys who have been out of the game, or at least off the sideline for decades. And here we have someone who's 61 and was supposed to be taking his team to a bowl game this month. So that it really brings home, like you said, Elijah, the relationship factor in the sport and how much everybody cares about everyone else in the sport, especially in the coaching community. I was working yesterday on a piece that published today about Tony White, Nebraska's new defensive coordinator, and this has got nothing to do with Mike Leach, because it's about 3-3-5 defense, and it is in some way a defense that was designed to stop offenses like the air raid, but really there's not a direct link between the 3-3-5 defense and Tony White and Mike Leach until you start to look a little bit deeper and you recognize that Zach Arnett, who's 36 years old and is now in charge of the program at Mississippi State, with the unfortunate timing of what has happened in these past few days, he is a disciple of the system that produced Tony White, Nebraska's new defensive coordinator. And Zach Arnett and Tony White are extremely close. I would imagine that Nebraska's new defensive coordinator has been having conversations and helping the new Mississippi State coach, the interim coach, who's 36 years old, through this moment that he's going through right now. White was the linebackers coach at a young age in his first full-time at New Mexico when Zach Arnett was a senior linebacker in college. They both coached at San Diego State for Rocky Long. Arnett was offered the job and accepted it at Syracuse for Dino Babers in 2020 to be the defensive coordinator. But Leach pulled him away after less than 2 weeks, and that job went to Tony White. So, in essence, Tony White, after his success at Syracuse the last 3 years, is only at Nebraska because Zach Arnett left to go to Mississippi State and created an opening for him to boost his coaching profile. So all of that reinforces what a small world and a small community and small circles exist within coaching. And again, Leach is a shining example of that.
Mitch Sherman's with us on Hail Varsity Radio. Mitch, going back to just the personality of the Pirates, have you ever seen another coach that you mentioned how it was, more of a personal conversation rather than you ask, he gives an answer? Have you ever seen or interacted with a coach just like Mike Leach at all?
He was unique. Clearly there are other coaches out there who are big personalities and interesting personalities. Usually when someone ascends to that level of being a head coach, they become, more buttoned up, more, I think, what we would look at as professional. They, don't show their personality as much. So, yeah, I've come across guys who are assistant coaches. I mean, I think of George Darlington at Nebraska, who for, over 30 years was always a colorful character, and he had much different than Mike Leach, but he had kind of a Leach-type quality to him where you never really knew where the conversation was going to go with George. And fortunately, we're still able to have those kind of conversations with him, decades after his retirement. But usually with the head coaches, no. When somebody gets to that level and they earn the kind of money and have the eyes on them that head coaches do, they settle into more of a role where access is restricted, and we don't really get to see the personal side of them.
Mitch Sherman with us from The Athletic, at Mitch Sherman on Twitter, and a phenomenal story on Nebraska's new defensive coordinator, Tony White, the crossover, a little bit of the Leach fingerprints with Arnett. And Mitch, thanks for your time today. Thanks for reaching out yesterday, and it's always fun to spend time with you, and thanks for helping remember the Pirate today.
Absolutely. Good to talk to you.
All right. There he is, Mitch Sherman with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. Appreciate his time. Great story, and fantastic work as always by Mitch. We'll continue to pay homage to Coach Leach. We'll have more of his anecdotes from his time with us on the show, and we'll spend time with the sporting news coming up next.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Oh yes, Christmas time. Sleigh bells are ringing. The Cornelius and the other nutcrackers are set up firmly on the mantle. And all over Lincoln, folks are saving a stocking full of cash on car wash memberships and bundle packs from Jet Splash Car Wash.
Is that right?
Yes, Cornelius. You could save up to $20 on 3-month memberships, $50 on 6 months, and $120 on annual memberships.
Wow.
Why, Cornelius, it is jaw-dropping. Shop online at jetsplash.com.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
Everyone, meet our newest employee, Susan. She has an idea that is going to revolutionize our food ordering.
Hi, Susan. So nice to meet you.
Unfortunately, she just gave her notice, and today is her last day.
I'm gonna miss her.
Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. It's our thing.
I miss my baby, someone stole my baby. By the way, my baby is my landscaping truck that was literally stolen from a job site. Baby, won't you please come home?
Owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but with 30-plus customizable coverage options, Progressive Commercial keeps your business humming along. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I love my sweetheart. By the way, that's my riding lawnmower.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
And now.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time today at Hail Varsity Radio. We're presented by Currency. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Clark. You can find us on Twitter at Schmidt_radio, at Herbal Essence, and at C_Clark_27. We are sad about the news with Coach Leach. We have nothing but thoughts and prayers to his family in our hearts, and I know the college football world and beyond have reached out and sent their tributes and their thoughts, and that's what today is. We smile about Coach Leach, his life, and what a wonderful, caring and giving person he was, and we're spending today with tribute to Leach and some of Coach's time with us here on Hail Varsity. Where are we going here?
Well, as I said back in segment one, we have so many different moments through the years that there's not enough that we can play all during a live radio show. As I said, we're approaching an hour worth of content of just 1 to 2 little minute sound bites that we've put together into a big long file, and I'm trying to get that up in podcast form so the people at home can listen to all the great moments. We have a couple good ones from him staying at the Roosevelt Hotel, looking for ghosts, to his opinion on riots, his reaction to being photoshopped as a woman with all the other SEC
Yeah, remember
coaches.
when that came out a couple of years ago with SEC Media Day? All the coaches got photoshopped as females. So we'll start with the Photoshop. He was doing an interview with us a couple of years ago, and I asked him about the Photoshop where he was superimposed as a woman, wig and blouse and everything. So we'll get that, and then when Coach Leach went ghost hunting at the Roosevelt Hotel here on Hail Varsity. Coach, did you see on Twitter yesterday somebody got real busy superimposing coaches of the SEC and other conferences on females?
Yeah, I saw that.
What'd you think of your portrait?
Well, some of them are trying to dress their guys up a little more than I am, and to be perfectly honest, some of them look sluttier than others. I still had very much a masculine quality, so I did appreciate that part of my caricature of that.
Well, so you're telling me you wouldn't dress as conservatively?
Well, I'd probably dress like I do now, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I would probably dress like I do now, but I'd be lying if I didn't see my sisters a little bit in
Sure.
in that picture of me when they turned me into a woman,
Coach Mike Leach, this is the Roosevelt Hotel story. I think we talked to Coach around Halloween a few years back. Coach, I want to ask you about, I'm looking at your Twitter feed, and you sent out a tweet a while back about haunted highways and byways. Have you ever stayed in a haunted house?
Shoot, I think my mother-in-law's house is haunted, but She's a great lady. But
Okay.
there's this one bedroom that's got some wild stuff.
What's gone on? What happened there?
Oh, I guess the furniture belonged to a relative and stuff, and it's really more of a vibe than anything else. But there was a room I stayed in at the Roosevelt Hotel years ago in Los Angeles. It's in Hollywood, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. And the person at the desk said that the room was supposed to be haunted. And then, I stayed up all night hoping I'd see something. I didn't stay up all night. I mean, I'd sleep and try to pretend to sleep so the ghost would think I was asleep so I could catch them, but no such luck. I think the ghosts are onto those that want to see them, and so I think they make it difficult. But no, I never saw a ghost there, but the room's supposed to be haunted, and people, I guess, have either run out of that room because they had a bad experience or try to rent that room because they're hoping they see one. Me, I just got there late, and that's all that was left, and they were trying to not rent it, but I already had a reservation, and there was a certain amount of negotiation between the girl at the desk and the manager as to whether they were going to let me in there, because I guess somebody had a tough time and left or something. And but I'm stuck there in L.A. at 10 p.m., have to get up early in the morning, and it's hard enough to get hotels as it was. And I just made it clear I was going to either sleep in their lobby or I was going to sleep in the room that they promised me that I'd reserved 2 weeks before. And so they sent me up to the haunted room, and we had an agreement that if I got scared and ran out of the room, then I took my own chances, and no harm, no foul. And so I don't know. I didn't get to see. I didn't see anything. And so then, but it was a really cool room. I mean, it was a cool old Hollywood room. Like from the standpoint, you walked into it, it had a great view. Looked down Hollywood Strip. Down the street, Hollywood Boulevard, across the street, Man's Chinese Theater. Okay, then the other thing, it was one of those that you walk in, and there's like a sitting room. It's like a suite. So there's a sitting room with this old furniture, really cool moldings on the wall, and actually a library, kind of a library, okay? And then there was a fireplace, which hasn't been used in years, and it did cross my mind how much fun it would be to go find some wood and stoke up that fireplace, but I imagine they'd get upset. And then the bathroom, kind of those chicken wire floors, those old fixtures, some marble countertop, one of those big tubs with the feet and everything. And anyway, so the bed, again, was right on the corner, kind of an upper corner of that hotel, where one window's looking right down the boulevard and the other's right across the street. So it was a very cool setting. As far as the ghosts, well, from my experience, maybe not as many ghosts as advertised, but still a great room. And I forget which one it is, but if you can get in there, and I highly recommend it.
Mike Leach wanting to stay in the haunted room at the Roosevelt Hotel. That was, think about this. We've all stayed in hotels, and he went and reserved the haunted room, or he was going to sleep in the lobby. Only a pirate. We'll have some more thoughts from Coach Leach as we spend tribute today and tribute to great football coach, and more social media thoughts and prayers are outpouring. Kyle Whittingham released a statement. Lane Kiffin was very, very heartfelt and thoughtful towards Coach Leach. And then even Matthew McConaughey. And I don't know if you know this story, but Matthew McConaughey invited Coach Leach to his wedding. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And so, Coach, what'd you get Matthew for the wedding gift? And he got McConaughey. It wasn't for Matthew, it was for Matthew's wife in case he got out of line. An authentic like 1700s pirate sword he had.
What?
That's what he gave the McConaughey's for their wedding gift.
Oh, Mike Leach.
Well, it's a pirate. We'll wind down hour one. Hail Varsity continues, presented by Currency.
The next generation of ED wave therapy is now at Limitless Male. Limitless pulse-focused wave therapy has clinically proven results for men wanting to improve their relationships. ED can be caused by age, heart disease, diabetes, or medication, and it won't get better on its own. Our new non-surgical wave therapy can help stop and potentially reverse damage. Take the ED quiz at limitlessmale.com. Get help from the men's health experts.
Welcome to What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what ifs. We've got a call from Millie. What's up?
Hi, Jake. What if, hypothetically, a moose gets mad at my car and rams into my windshield? Hypothetically.
Oh, just file a claim on the app. At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Great, but what if the moose eats my phone? Hypothetically.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
The spirit of the season shines throughout Lincoln and surrounding Nebraska communities. On behalf of local businesses Gaina Trucking, online at gainatrucking.com, and Jet Splash Car Wash, online at jetsplashcarwash.com. We extend warm wishes for a magical holiday season and a happy new year. From all of us at Alpha Media, Gaina Trucking, and Jet Splash Car Wash, happy holidays.
What's the difference between this and this?
Hey, that's my car!
Opportunity. Because you thought leaving the keys in your car would be no big deal. No one would take your car, and now you're stuck going nowhere. This is Officer Tim Abley of the Lincoln Police Department. How can you stop a criminal from using your car for a joyride or worse, a crime? Simple. Don't leave your car warming up unattended. Sitting in a cold car, waiting for it to warm up is better than not having a car at all. Stay with your keys, please.
I'm weatherology meteorologist Ray Miller with your Capital City forecast. Partly cloudy tonight, a low of 28 degrees with breezy southwest winds. Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 37. Thursday, cloudy and 31. That's the forecast on Lincoln's ESPN. Right now, it's 50.
Call John Henry's today for a $99 heating system service to make sure your home can handle any weather Mother Nature has to throw at us.
435 55 55.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time. It's Hail Varsity Radio, presented by Currency. For all your financing needs, go Currency. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. Connor Clark paying tribute to the Pirate today, Mike Leach. And a reminder to get buckled up. One of every 3 fatal crashes in Nebraska involves an alcohol-impaired driver. Why take chances? If you drink, don't drive. A message from the Nebraska Department of Highway Safety Office. In hour 2, we'll spend some time with Bill Bender. His thoughts on the coaching carousel hires this football season. It's been a wacky, silly season. It's been a while since we caught up with Bill. Bill's also on the National College Football landscape, like Mitch Sherman. Get his thoughts on Coach Leach. And then we'll air our sit-down from last week with Coach Leach in hour 2, where we were able to spend some time with the Pirate. This is right after the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. Big Cubs fan. The Pirate was just a big baseball fan, loved the Angels, not a big Dodgers guy. But he was smiling about the Cubs, and somehow that led into the topic of rioting. So more from the Pirate. Okay, I can't imagine you rioting. How would Mike Leach riot?
I think a portion of rioting is, I think there's a portion of it where it must actually be kind of fun because it certainly doesn't seem to be hard to coax these people to do it. It's like when I was in Berkeley one time, I was in Berkeley recruiting. I'm trying to think where I was coaching. I think I was at the University of Kentucky, but we were driving through Berkeley recruiting, and, all the traffic stopped, and there's police out there in riot gear, and there's all these students and people holding hands and centipeding through traffic, and this was years ago. So I rolled down the window, and I said, to one of the people filing through, I said, "Hey, so what's going on?" And the guy says, "I don't know, we're protesting something." And I go, "Really? What are you protesting?" He goes, "I think it has something to do with Nicaragua. I don't know for sure, but it's fun anyway. We just started. Maybe once we get closer to the front, we can find out what we're protesting. But it's pretty fun anyway, and this goes on around here all the time." I mean, there's a point to where some of the protesting is recreational, and for various reasons, I think that people don't particularly care. But anyways, those were happy protesters. And, obviously you want to discourage violent protests because that isn't good for anybody.
Mike Leach with us here on Hail Varsity. The remembrance of Mike Leach as the coach passed away last night, and we're remembering him today and plenty more. And Coach will be missed dearly by those in the college football world and those that are just fans, because he's
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
'Twas the night before approval, and I heard all through the city. I want a nicer, newer car, but my credit, oh, what a pity. I wanted a truck, mama, an SUV, but maybe a car'd be more practical. We'll see. There arose such a noise on my radio, I knew right then I had to go see Approved by Joe. He asked, "Have you been turned down before? Still making payments on that old sled? Worried about getting Scrooged? Come here instead." With very quick work and very little pain, I heard Approved by Joe call them by name. On Chris, on Josh, on Sam, Don, and Lorenzo, on Andrea, on Kendall, let's get these customers handled. When what to my wondering eyes did appear? With $5 down, a credit approval, my dear. Joe wants your trade, he'll pay more than anyone, and his team won't quit until they get your deal done. With our For the People credit approval process, bring us $5, bring us your trade, we'll take out the stress. I heard him exclaim as I had the store in sight, "Happy approvals to all, and to all a nicer, newer ride." I'm Joe Clemens, and I'm your dealer for the people. Come see us at Capital City Automax or online at approvedbyjoe.com, approvedbyjoe.com, www.approvedbyjoe.com.
All terms subject to approval. Some minimum requirements. Ho, ho, ho.
From the John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Studios, this is KLMS Lincoln, the capital city's Husker Authority.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Developing story, an MRI confirmed Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray suffered a season-ending torn ACL last night. The team hasn't discussed a time frame for his return. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Colt McCoy is expected to be able to start Sunday in Denver. College football has lost an original. Mississippi State coach Mike Leach last night complications related to a heart condition at the age of 61. Leach revolutionized the sport with the air raid offense, but he should be known for much more, says Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin.
There aren't many people that you look forward to seeing every single time, especially on a game day, at conference meetings. And here's this guy just get along with everybody. Didn't matter where you're from, how long you coached anything. He was so wonderful with everybody, just a true joy to be around. Maybe the smartest person I have ever met.
Mississippi State will play in the ReliaQuest Bowl January 2nd against Illinois to honor Leach. World Cup semis, Argentina defeated Croatia 3-0. Lionel Messi converted a penalty and had a hand in 2 other goals. Argentina will play France or Morocco in the final on Sunday.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. These are tough times for everyone, so dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshares and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial now for your free information kit. 800-384-3434. That's 800-384-3434. 800-384-3434.
Running on empty? Don't let aging drain your body. Limitless Male can help you recharge safely under medical care. As you age, your body produces less testosterone, which can cause one or more symptoms: trouble sleeping, no energy, loss of muscle mass, poor concentration, belly fat, low sex drive, depression. Limitless Male can eliminate these symptoms with testosterone replacement therapy and re-energize your life. Schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hello, neighbor. We know you've got holiday parties coming up, so Super C, your supply stop. Great specials. Bud Light, 25-ounce cans, 2 for $5. Busch Light, 5-ounce cans, 2 for $4.50. And Busch Light 18-pack cans, just $14.99. That's a great deal. Super C has your favorite seltzers, White Claw, Truly, or Quirk, whatever makes you bubble. Remember to pick up the ice for that gathering at Super C, where you get more ice for the same low price. Super C, where they're always happy to see you.
Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and it's earned every day.
At 1011, it's in the way we cover the community we call home.
Working hard to fact check, verify, and get the story right.
It means alerting first to severe and preparing for what's ahead.
It's the stories that bring us together and make us proud to be Nebraskan.
Trust Cole Miller, Kelsey Pessel, Chief Meteorologist Ken Shumick, and Sports Director Kevin Suits. The most watched, most trusted. That's 1011.
Tis the season for big savings on HP Tech at Staples. This week, save $100 on an HP Smart Tank 7301 refillable printer. The HP Smart Tank makes printing worry-free with the 2 years of HP original ink included. From black and white docs to color prints, this wireless printer allows ultimate flexibility for busy families. And now save even more when you bundle an HP printer, PC, and monitor.
Hi,
the
this is
latest
Pastor
tech
Tom with
solutions
People
are at
City
Staples.
Mission.
The
We're
Working
Lincoln's
and Learning
homeless
Store.
shelter,
Offer
and
good
this
in-store
winter,
and
the
online
mission
ends
expects to
12/17.
house and feed over 80% of the city's homeless. Because when the weather gets cold out there, here's where people come to. But in this current economy, providing them with a warm bed and a hot meal, it's getting a lot harder to do. And we really need your help. So I'm asking you to please remember the homeless during this holiday season. Your support will really make a difference. Thanks so much, and God bless you.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
Everyone, meet our newest employee, Susan. She has an idea that is going to revolutionize our food ordering.
Hi, Susan. So nice.
Unfortunately, she just gave her notice, and today is her last day.
I'm gonna miss her. Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. It's our thing.
I miss my baby. Someone stole my baby. By the way, my baby is my landscaping truck that was literally stolen from a job site. Baby, won't you please come home?
Owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but with 30-plus customizable coverage options, Progressive Commercial keeps your business humming along. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com.
I love my sweetheart. By the way, that's my riding lawnmower.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Hail Varsity Radio, the voice of Husker Nation. Insight, opinion, expertise, with the biggest and best names talking Nebraska across the state. Join the show on Twitter at Hail Varsity and at Schmidt_radio. Call in at 402-466-ESPN or 1-800-825-5865. Here's Chris Schmidt.
Back with you, it's Hour 2. It's Hail Varsity Radio. We're presented by Currency for all your equipment financing needs. We welcome in with the sporting news. Bill Bender with us at Bill Bender 92 is where you can follow him. Bill, we'll dive into some college football and coaching cycle and NFL, but man, one in a million. Coach Mike Leach passing away, and the college football world's reacting. And did you have any fun stories or interactions with Coach?
Well, I know you had more. I put in a column I wrote today. I interviewed him back in 2015 for a story about Luke Falk. Mm-hmm. And I was, you went into the interview. I knew you knew him a little more, and I was anticipating all these crazy conversations. And that was good, but it was talk about Luke Falk. The more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? That was his assignment there. And then, in future interactions, obviously, he's just a great person, a great quote, great for the game, a colorful character. But as I put, contribution to the actual game is what is going to stand out with me. I mean, 17 of the last 21 years, Mike Leach's teams led the FBS in passing attempts. I love it.
That is impressive. And you look at Coach's coaching tree. I mean, wow, is what you got to say with guys that not only have thrived, but won at a very high level at some major spots.
Yeah, it really is. And I like I said, I was looking through his quarterbacks, and, he had like 9 guys that threw for 4,000 yards. He coached Cliff Kingsbury, who's in the NFL. He coached Graham Harrell, and Lincoln Riley was an assistant for him. Sonny Cumbie. Mm-hmm. It really has changed the game if you think about it. Years ago or so, the college football was still a run the ball and establish the run and pass from there. Now it's you set up the run by passing the football, and it's a wide open game. And I think a lot of that is because of Mike Leach, and his unapologetic way of playing his style was great. And then, of course, as you probably have millions of stories, the quotes were better.
His personality was incredible. The fun he had, his roughness as well, just the accountability portion of his equation, extremely impressive. But just how giving and caring, how much fun he was. And there's a lot of folks that got to spend time with him, and he made people feel great. And he gave, Bill, that's it. I mean, he gave time. He was such a great dude in that way, where he just loved to chat with you, loved to talk to people.
Yeah, and that's what made him so fun. I mean, we live in this world now where I'm not going to say most, but a lot of college football are, what is it? They're prepackaged statements. I call it the cliche wheel when you ask a question. There was no script with his answers, and we all know the greatest hits, whether it was the one about the marriage, the wedding, the mascot fight. I went back and watched them all last night. I forgot about the one where he talked about wanting a pet raccoon. And, if I could compare him to somebody, it reminds me of like my buddies when, you're sitting there on your couch at 9 at night and then you're like, hey, what's your favorite, that one, like, what's your favorite candy? Or, hey, is Wilt Chamberlain better than Michael Jordan? That kind of guy. He would feed into that. He'd be the perfect person to debate all those things with.
It was fun. It was fun. It was fun, and the off-air talks were priceless. The on-air talks were incredible, and just the life and times of the Pirate with his travels. And I mean, everybody knows him. And then you'd ask, you kind of say, dude, what's that rarefied air like? Where you're at a event in Vegas with Barkley, or you're down in Hemingway Land with John Goodman. Okay, you just bump into one another at a watering hole, and his advice is if you're ever in Key West, don't drink with John Goodman. This is back when John was drinking. John's no longer drinking anymore, but I mean, just the way he said, like, by the way, if you ever get down to Key West, don't drink with John Goodman. So
and that's what we lose. And 61's far too soon.
Oh, man.
That's one that just makes me feel for his family and, the Mississippi State community, all the players. I thought it was really impressive last night that you saw Texas Tech, posting, and countless coaches that, he was part of that. And it's a tough one. It's a tough day when you lose somebody like that, and it takes a little bit away from the whole season and those kind of things. So, yeah, we'll see how Mississippi State reacts, but he definitely will be missed.
Bill Bender is with us, Sporting News, Hail Varsity Radio, remembering the Pirate, at Bill Bender 92 on Twitter is where you follow him. Bill, I want to get your take on the coaching cycle here for 2022. We have not talked to you since Coach Rule has been brought in, but it's been a pretty fascinating coaching cycle. I mean, we've got Hugh Freeze at Auburn, Brahms off to Louisville, Fickles at Wisconsin, Coach Prime is poised and ready in Boulder. I want to start with Rule, though, and what do you think the biggest thing Coach Rule can bring to Nebraska? What do you anticipate him being able to do in Lincoln? What's his biggest strength as you look at him?
I think, I want to see how he does with recruiting. From a scheme standpoint, I think he could create something rather quickly that he had at Temple, that he had at Baylor, where, Baylor was set up for success when he left. And he flipped them and Temple into double-digit win teams. And in the Big Ten West, I just think he'll do a good job. Now, the key, and I'm just going to say this about every coach, is what can he do for recruiting in the NIL era? That's what we need to figure out. Can he bring the 4- and 5-star athletes to Nebraska and, improve that talent? Can he build the offensive and defensive lines to – I don't know that you're targeting like Iowa and Minnesota and Wisconsin. You know what I mean? Like, because Wisconsin's going to evolve with Luke Fickell, and Minnesota has evolved on some level with PJ Fleck. I just think he's got a project, and if you give him some patience, I think it's a great hire.
I think patience is absolutely key, and I think he's going to turn guys into that 4-star or better talent. I think he'll find some players he can mold, and I think he can eye the talent, and then I think he can develop it, and that's Nebraska's either not developed the talent they've been able to bring in, or they've just missed on the evaluation, Bill, and I think Fickell, I should say Rule and his staff do just really good work with that. I mean, you look at some recruiting comps, and you're like, okay, Nebraska, just recently, right? You just had 16 kids in for an official visit. Okay, who's offering? It's Nebraska and who else? Monmouth, that's so it's not always a peer recruiting type situation, but it's a guy that Rule or somebody on his staff like, and that here's what we can do. here's what we can project with the kid.
Well, and if I may, like a model you could follow, honestly, is what Harbaugh has done in Michigan.
Yeah,
they're not loaded with 5-star talent. They have a bunch of 4-star guys, and one of the things I think that's what we tried to look when Nebraska hired Frost. I thought this would be the same trajectory of Michigan had some rough years with Harbaugh, but you've seen them turn the corner now, and now I think they're going to have something to say about who wins the Big Ten every year. And some of that is look at his talent evaluation. He gets a Colston Loveland out of Idaho. He gets, some of his offensive linemen are 3 stars. He does a very good job. One of the things Jim Harbaugh's not given enough credit for is developing talent. He takes a 3-star kid, turns him into an NFL player.
Well, that, I think, will be the route for Rule if it's to work in Lincoln. Bill Bender with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. Sporting news at Bill Bender 92. Let's talk Wisconsin for a minute, Bill, and their evolution. They're at a bit of a crossroads, and, man, did they get a heck of a good football coach. I think Fickell probably realized how tough it was to do an encore. He was great last year. They lost a lot of talent. They're still really good this year, but they're not playoff good, right? So they're 9-3 opposed to knocking on the playoff door. And now is the time to jump to Wisconsin. What do you see with Fickell and Wisconsin? It's not going to be the Christ or Leonard or Barry Alvarez mode anymore. I mean, right? He's going air raid on offense.
I think he's going to try to develop a quarterback like a Desmond Ritter, and this is exactly what Wisconsin needs because I don't think he'll stray too far from their identity, though.
Okay.
He'll still start in the trenches. It'll still start with defense. I mean, our All-American team dropped today, and Ivan Pace is a first-team selection. He was a 2-star linebacker that they turned into an All-American at Cincinnati. Sauce Gardner is one of the best players in the NFL, and he developed him at Cincinnati. So I think he's going to take what he did there, and he's a very good recruiter. He has throughout the Midwest because of he's got some Catholic school ties too. That never hurts in the Midwest, and I think he's going to do a really nice job there. I think Wisconsin, with all due respect for what show I'm on, I think Wisconsin made the best hire of this cycle with him.
No, you could absolutely argue that. I mean, it was a great get. Do you like Dion, Coach Prime at Colorado? I know that there's so much buzz, and I think he'll recruit. And the Pac-12's still got the Hollywood flavor for another year or so.
I think he's going to do a great job recruiting. I think he's going to increase the visibility on a Colorado football program that has obviously been dormant for a very long time. I'm wondering he's a guy, though, and I've been saying this a couple times, Chris, that people already have their mind made up, right?
Sure.
So if they're 5-7 next season, which I think they'll probably be about 5-7 or 6-6, one person will say, "What a wonderful season," and the next person will say, I told you he was a flop."
Mm.
So I think it's just somewhere in between where I'm glad he's in the game. I mean, it kind of, Mike Leach was a very good personality for the game. I think Dion, whether you love him or hate him, it's great for college football having him on the sideline. I always tell people I didn't like him when he played because he played for the Cowboys and I'm a Packers fan, but I recognized exactly how good he was. I told my son the other night, Chris, that Tyreek Hill, I was like, go play man out there, and he wouldn't worry about it.
And he would have. He would have. Yeah. He would have. Not only would Dion probably have blanketed the cheetah, but he probably would have had a punt return later in the game and then went and hit a home run.
Yeah, he was a fantastic athlete. I want to see it, and I want to see. I'm not one of those guys that's going to root for somebody like him to fail. I think it's great to have him in the game. I think he will be funny. He will bring interest to it, and like I said, it started with the Twitter speech night where, some people were saying, well, that's just horrible coaching. And others were saying that's great motivation. With me, as always, I try to say that's probably somewhere in the middle.
Well, I think he's pretty straightforward expectation-wise with the guys in the locker room. Braum to Louisville. I mean, this is a big loss for the Big Ten. Braum, the last 2 years and 3 of the last 4 years had things going at Purdue, 9 wins, some monster upsets, and a Big Ten championship run this year. But home is home, and man, what a loss for Purdue.
No, it really is. It's a loss. It's one of those things where, he's such I love watching his play calling. Yeah. I love his aggressive play calling. I love some of the creativity in his game. Aiden O'Connell, I was telling people during the Big Ten championship week, it's like he's going to play in the NFL. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be great, but he's going to play. He'll play as a backup at the very least, and Rom helped develop him. I mean, sometimes it's just the alma mater calls and you want to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no reason for him not to, and I think that's a really good gift for Louisville, especially with the way that he'll be able to develop those quarterbacks. And for Purdue, like a lot of people are saying, Garrett Riley probably should be one of their first calls and keep it going with what they do. They're always – both of those schools share something in common. They always have, every once in a while they pop out an NFL quarterback and they play very well.
Bill Bender with us, Sporting News at Bill Bender 92. Remember to follow him. Bill, before we get you out, and thanks for remembering the Pirate with us today. College football playoff. Leach wanted a field of 64. We'll get a field of 12 pretty soon. But right now, are we looking at Georgia, Michigan for the championship, or do you have a little bit of more faith in TCU and Ohio State?
I think Michigan will win, but it's not going to be easy. Mm-hmm. I think it will happen in the second half, which has kind of happened with them all year. I think Max Duggan's going to give them some fits, though, the way that he can make plays. And, it's one of those, and that from 12 days, like, style wins. Mm-hmm. Does TCU's Big 12 style win, or does Michigan's Big 10 style win? And then on the other side, Ohio State's going to give Georgia a game. I don't know if they're going to win, but I think when you have that much 4- and 5-star talent that's coming off a loss and kind of had their pride challenged after the Michigan loss, I do think they'll come out and play and keep it close.
Bill, take care, and thanks for your time today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
The holidays are here, and it's time to celebrate at Hail Varsity Club. Whether you're looking for an intimate business lunch or a 100-person holiday party, Hail Varsity Club offers an elevated experience with food and drink packages sure to please any crowd. There are only a few premium dates left in December. Visit hailvarsityclub.com to learn more about the private events and book yours now. If you're not already a Hail Varsity subscriber, what are you waiting for? Sign up for a Hail Varsity subscription to receive exclusive breaking news coverage of Nebraska football, volleyball, and more. Subscriptions include 10 print issues of the Hail Varsity magazine per year, the annual Hail Varsity football yearbook, plus complete access to everything on hailvarsity.com. Visit hailvarsity.com to sign up today and get your first month free.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too. Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you're not already a Hail Varsity subscriber, what are you waiting for? Sign up for a Hail Varsity subscription to receive exclusive breaking news coverage of Nebraska football, volleyball, and more. Subscriptions include 10 print issues of the Hail Varsity magazine per year, the annual Hail Varsity football yearbook, plus complete access to everything on hailvarsity.com. Visit hailvarsity.com to sign up today and get your first month free.
O'Reilly. See the road ahead more clearly with Sylvania Bulbs and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase select Sylvania bulbs and get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Replace your bulbs today and see better tonight. Let the professional parts people help you find the bulbs you need. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So
I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back to you. It's Hail Varsity Radio, presented by Currency. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. More of a tribute to the Pirate today, our interview with him from last Thursday. Back with you at Hail Varsity Radio, presented by Currency. And we welcome in the head Pirate, Coach Mike Leach from Mississippi State. Coach, we got some freezing rain today in eastern Nebraska. How you doing?
You know, back when I was in Iowa and I didn't have any money, I had a 79 Cadillac DeVille, and I'd go out there and it would be covered. It looked like a sheet of glass. The whole thing covered with a sheet of glass. Trouble is you couldn't get a key in anything. You couldn't get anything to move. We eventually get to an extension cord and a hair dryer and try to melt the keyhole, and even that was slow duty.
Well, have you heard what they do in Alaska, where they'll actually go build a fire underneath their car to get everything de-thawed? It's
seriously,
bonkers. Yeah.
I've always wondered about that a little bit. I mean, isn't that how you blow up a car? Like if you watch movies and stuff? Yeah. I mean, well, of course, if you watch movies, a couple things on movies, and I think they're transitional, like, just vehicles to move around or eliminate characters. But, you got these cars, which we're driving them around all the time, and they get in wrecks all the time. But, in these movies, if you hit a car wrong, it'll just immediately blow up. As in, any car that goes off a cliff, of course, blows up. And then, they're awfully combustible. It's like, driving something fueled by nitroglycerin if it's on a movie. Okay, then the other thing that they love to do is anytime you need to eliminate a character or need a character to pause, you conk him on the head and knock him out for a little bit. And he passes out for whatever allotted time you need. And then, of course, he'll get up again. And, main characters may get knocked out several times while still prevailing in the end. And then, of course, villains will get knocked out until you can get past them or whatever's convenient, But the knocking out and yet, people come back bright and perky and letting it rip, Yeah. I think the concussion protocol people need to meet with the movie people and figure out how to recover in the fashion they do in movies.
Mike Leach with us, Hail Varsity Radio, head coach, Mississippi State. The extension cord and hair dryer, a 79 Cadillac, dealing with ice and rain. Man, we've gone a lot of spots already. It's awesome to spend time with you. You gave us, we are ready to pack up and take off for Ireland, which we did to start the season. And you gave us the art of swearing. We love that last conversation. I want to stick with the driving topic. You have kids. They've all had their license. Did you do most of the driver's ed in the family, or did you stay away from teaching kids how to drive?
I did some, because I wouldn't, okay, so my wife on the driver's ed thing, she'll sit in the passenger side, but she's constantly stomping on an imaginary brake on her side and probably damaging the floorboard as she's constantly slamming her foot into the floor of the passenger side. She doesn't have the temperament to drive with new drivers. I didn't have a problem with it, I mean, I didn't want to hit anything, obviously, but I wouldn't get rattled and say it'd be like, all right, you got to turn sooner. You better slow down. You know, I just kind of inform them, just kind of one helpful tip, not a constant dialogue like my wife. Stop, turn, no, no, you got to look at that. We'll look right and left, and then, no, stop. You know, it wasn't like that. It'd be like, that wasn't very straight backing out. All right, now pull forward, not too fast. And then you ought to brake a little. So that was more my deal. But to be perfectly honest, the public school system had more to do with them learning to drive than me or my wife, either one.
Does teaching driver's ed have any parallels to coaching a high-level Division I college football program?
I think it does. I got a good friend of mine, and this guy's iconic. This guy's like kind of a local regional hero in South Florida. Okay, so Jerry Hughes, former legendary football coach throughout South Florida. He coached at Miami High. He coached at several of them down there, and then also coached at Key West High School. Okay, so he's always been a driver's ed teacher, and you know, in between. So he's a driver, and even now he doesn't coach anymore, but still does driver's ed. and he's the perfect guy, because I mean, to have for a driver's ed teacher, because he wouldn't notice much of anything, just sort of cruise along, drink his coffee or whatever, you know. And he'd be perfect, but Jerry, like most football coaches, has no problem telling someone what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. And driving, I think, is a critical enough thing with other people involved as far as doing it safely, that I think you need a guy like that. I would get extremely bored being a driver's ed teacher. It'd drive me crazy. But Jerry still is a driver's ed teacher, and you know, there's got to be thousands of people on the roads right now that learn to drive with Jerry Hughes, including my son. My son, when we were down in Key West for 2 years, my son, Jerry Hughes, taught my son to drive, and so he's like the ultimate kind of knowledgeable yet gruff, crusty football coach and master's driver's ed instructor.
Mike Leach with us, a few minutes, Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, I want to ask you about the living room. It's that time of year. It's early signing period. You're out recruiting. What's your approach in the living room with a prospect? And who did you learn the art of recruiting from? Who's been some really dynamic folks that you've been around? And, you know, you've done a marvelous job through your career of landing high-profile talent, but also finding guys and developing really good football players.
Well, I think when you go into a living room, when you go into the living room, I think the biggest thing is act like you belong there. I mean, the people in the living room, it's their living room. I mean, don't mess with their TV or anything like that. I mean, but make yourself at home. But, you know, I mean, some guys come in just so wound up and uptight, I mean, where you're not going to belong anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I never wear a coat and tie. You know, you're already, there's a little bit of a distance separation. You know, they see you on TV, and now I'm going to come in some really uptight coat and tie. I never do that. You know, you try to, like I say, dress like you belong in the living room. Mm-hmm. And so you want something kind of neutral, I think. And then, you know, and just carry on the conversation, learn about one another. I think that's probably the most important thing, because on the visit and the phone calls, you learn a lot about the X's and O's and things of that nature. I think I've been around some you know, great recruiters. I thought Hal Mummy was a really good recruiter. And then, you know, when I was coming up, and then I thought that, you know, of course, Bob Stoops and his staff were really good recruiters. And then, now I did become a head coach quick enough that I didn't have a ton of mentors in this, but I know that the one thing everybody thinks kind of the super salesman, slick car dealer type of guy is the best recruiter. I know some of the most kind of boring's not the right word, but kind of understated, just the facts, only football type of football coaches who are great recruiters. And the one quality that all really good recruiters have is persistence. I know some of those really slick, sharp-looking guys, terrible recruiters. And I know some of the most dour-looking, grumpy football coach types, great recruiters. The one thing all great recruiters have in common is persistence, just persistence. Because you never know which call, which conversation, which letter is going to strike a chord. Persistence. Nothing replaces persistence. And then after that, you just got to be yourself. Those that are trying to not be themselves, I think, damage their effort. And then talent on the phone is good because, that's what you're allowed to do the most, if you think about as far as being close to somebody and think you're allowed to do the most often and the longest, it's the phone. And so people that are good on the phone and that you can just hammer away, not necessarily long, not necessarily, anything in particular, but persistence and good on the phone.
Coach Mike Leach is with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. And, Coach, let's say you're in a recruit's living room and you're 15, 20 minutes in the conversation. You just feel something isn't going right. Do you have any Coach Leach-approved, tried-and-true methods to get that in-home visit back on track?
Sometimes it kind of depends what. But I think the more you can get the recruit and their family talking, one, the less likely that is to happen. Two, that's probably the best chance of getting it back on track. Get them talking. Listen to what they want. Listen to what they're looking for. Listen to, and then I think it's important to let them talk as much as they can anyway. The truth of the matter is people like to talk. They like it when they get to talk. Even shy people like it when they get to talk. And don't just open the door for them to talk, but try to coax them to talk, because I do think that strengthens the thing. And I do think a relationship's stronger, both sides if there's dialogue,
Open wide. Let me see that smile.
There's a back-to-school braces boom at Doc Kelly's office.
Hold on for a sec. Can someone bring me more?
She needs to realign her staffing plan with more registered dental assistants.
Can you reorder the rubber bands in red?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Jane doesn't mind an apartment with no elevator.
5 flights of stairs is 5 plates of cardio.
Bob is a little less enthusiastic about stairs.
I hate stairs.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle renters and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Jane and Bob found an apartment that's a 4-story walk-up. And Bob?
Yeah, there's a freight elevator she doesn't know about.
What were you talking about?
Oh, nothing.
Bundling without compromise at Geico.com.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Get special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories. Free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Have you been naughty? Nice this year. Cash don't care. At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
O'Reilly. Put your vehicle engine with Syntec O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and reduce friction and wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Couple more minutes. Mike Leach with us. Mississippi State taking on Illinois January 2nd, the Reliant Quest Bowl. Coach, are you going to tour the old pirate ship, or have you toured the pirate ship at Raymond James Stadium?
I never have. I've always wanted to. What is it? Is it just kind of a prop on the side of the stadium, or does it have some stuff? I mean, is there quarters you can stay there? Do they have like
I don't know if you
swords you can swing around up there? Maybe a hat you wear when you're there?
I would think that you can fire a cannon or two. Obviously, a prop probably, but I mean, it looks like a normal pirate ship. I would inquire though about just camping out there, stay the night.
I'd inquire about its seaworthiness.
Yeah.
Do they serve grog? I mean, do they have, I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I definitely want to.
Well, that'll be cool. Thoughts on Illinois? We saw Illinois here in Lincoln in October, and Coach Bielema has done a really nice job. Should be a pretty physical matchup.
Well, he's a great guy, and I've known him for a long, long time. And, of course, was a good player, too. Yeah, very physical. They're a lot like Coach Bielema. You know, they're just kind of a physical group on both sides of the ball.
Coach, a thought, do you know much, or have you had any interactions with Matt Rule?
Yeah, I know him a little bit. Good guy. Good guy. I think you'll enjoy him. I've always thought he's a good coach. I mean, you know, I don't know what happened at Carolina. I suspect that, you know, the NFL has a funny way of cluttering things up to the point where it doesn't work. And then, you know, I mean, who knows whose fault that was. And I certainly wouldn't blame Matt right off the top. I think I've always thought he's a great coach. Look, he's resurrected a bunch of programs. You know, the hardest thing in the world to do, I mean, resurrecting Temple and Baylor. I mean, now everybody takes it for granted Baylor's going to be good. Well, Matt Rule made it where people think that Baylor's going to be good.
You were able to really do well at Tech, and you did well at Oklahoma, recruiting Texas as well. But Matt went in there as a guy that didn't really have much contact in the state of Texas, and people swear by him.
Yeah, now that's really overrated. One of the most overrated things on earth. Now, Texas has great high school football. Mm-hmm. Great high school football. Maybe the best in the country. And they're more committed to it, too. And anything people as industrious as the people in Texas are committed to is going to be pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then there's a false notion that well, you can't recruit Texas unless you're from Texas. Well, think about how ridiculous that is. I mean, guy after guy leaves the state of Texas, goes and plays somewhere else. You don't need to be from the state of Texas to recruit someone from the state of Texas. And then the other thing, if you just add it up, most people aren't from the state of Texas. Okay, and like for example, the guy you're talking to or the coach you're talking to, maybe he was born in Texas, but odds are reasonably high that one or both of his parents were not born in the state of Texas. Texas has always been a place that's very much like the U.S., where people move in, move out, come and go all the time. So, and then of course, I think as people take pride in the high school football there and the dedication they have to it, then they want to, sometimes they get over their skis and try to make it a little more special. And well, the only people that can recruit them have to be from Texas. No, Texas is like everybody, else. I mean, there's stuff that's important, there's stuff that's not, and they are tough and smart and committed, and so other tough, smart, and committed people from anywhere can recruit somebody from Texas. So we're back to the first thing we started with, which is persistence.
Coach, have you had much time or interaction with Deion Sanders? I know he's leaving Jackson State for Colorado, but you and Lane and Coach Prime down in Mississippi this past couple of seasons.
Oh, I've known him for a while. I like him a lot. I've always been impressed. I mean, you talk about one of America's achievers, plays football like 14 years, and 9 of them's playing Major League Baseball simultaneously. I mean, everybody forgets that. Can you imagine that, long NFL season? Well, but before that, you played 162 games. Sometimes he played a few less and got into football a little earlier. But I mean, that's amazing. That's not just that's crazy amazing. And then the sharp guy has a plan. I think he's going to do well. But I like him. He's a smart guy. And the other thing is if you think about it, I mean, he's dedicated to this. I mean, Deion Sanders doesn't have to be coaching football. I mean, he can do anything he wants right now. I mean, anything. And yet he decides, he wants to coach football and, elevate players, let them help them reach their potential and compete and create great teams. And so, there's a guy that's really committed, somebody that doesn't have to do it, but's going to go ahead and do it anyway.
Coach, we'll end with this. It's the Christmas season. Holiday parties and dressing up as Santa. Have you ever been to a holiday party where Santa showed up, and have you ever had to play Santa?
No, not. Oh, wait. Way back in grade school, I was in a school play where I was Santa. Let me think. Yeah, I was Santa. One elf, too. Let's see. Didn't really play Santa. No, I need to get out more. Part of it is we got bulls in practice then, but in not a lot of costume-driven parties. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be bad to take a lap through a Santa suit party, male, female Santa suit party. Who knows what may go on afterwards, but just take a quick lap and get in and get out and just get the quick visual, and then stay out of harm's way,
Coach, while we're talking Christmas, it is the season of giving. I want to get your thoughts on this. I know we said last stop, but I just got one more quick one for you. What do you make of your quarterback, Will Rogers, giving a gift to the head coach's son at your rival? Knox Kiffin asked for the towel after the Egg Bowl. What'd you make of that?
Well, that's fine. I mean, I heard about it secondhand, and these guys could ask for their gloves, their towels, everything else. Some of these guys are more generous than others. It was funny because some of those kids, I mean, and they'll go far as adults. I mean, some of those kids have everything from, like gloves to, mouthpieces to, I mean, just an amazing collection of equipment, that like incredible stuff, and from both sides. I mean, those guys will hire me someday.
Mike Leach with us. Coach, Merry Christmas. Best to you and your family. We'll get caught up again, and but good luck in your bowl game. Always fun spending time with you today.
Well, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
It's Mike Leach with us last Thursday, and we'll wind down a tribute to the Pirate on Hail Varsity.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Now, looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Available in select models. Trade-in must run and drive to qualify. Exclusion supply ends 11/30.
Why is it that H&H Chevrolet is the #1 Chevy dealer in Nebraska? Because we offer an amazing car buying experience. Plus, we have new inventory arriving daily, and we'll match your down payment up to $2,000 and give you a $2,000 trade-in bonus on Silverado on top of all other offers. Only at H&H Chevrolet, 84th and L, Omaha. Find new road at hhchevy.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
May I have your attention, please? I am so delighted that we are gathering to celebrate.
The Lincoln Wedding and Celebrations Show is back January 8th at the Embassy Suites downtown. Admission is free when you register online by January 6th. Visit with vendors including Sweet and Spicy Creations and enjoy a style show featuring Ellen Bridal, Complete Weddings and Events, and Studio SPS.
The Lincoln Wedding and Celebration Show, Sunday, January 8th. Get your free tickets now at ESPNLincoln.com.
I'm weatherology meteorologist Ray Miller with your capital city forecast. Partly cloudy tonight, a low of 28 degrees with breezy southwest winds. Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 37. Thursday, cloudy and 31. That's the forecast on Lincoln's ESPN. Right now, it's 46.
Get your sports fix here. ESPN Lincoln is on the air at 101.5 FM at 1480 AM. Online at ESPNLincoln.com. Miss us?
Come here, brother. Give me a hug. Bring it in for the real thing.
We're on call for you. It's the podcast at HailVarsity.com. ESPN Lincoln app or download them on iTunes.
Saddle up, partner.
Back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time on Hail Varsity Radio, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, were presented by Currency for all your equipment financing needs. Go Currency, and we've tried to pay tribute today to Mike Leach, passing last night. Announcement this morning, and just a gentleman, scholar, incredible football coach, but a people person that gave and cared about people and was generous to us. When you think about the Pirate smile about what he left and what he gave, this was the Pirate as we got into a discussion about Beth or Ruth. Ruth from Ozark, Beth from Yellowstone. Mike Leach with us, Mississippi State head coach. Did you grow up with a girl in high school like Ruth from Yellowstone?
Yeah, all of them. That was Wyoming. I'll tell you, we get out of this. Once in a while, those rodeo girls would start fighting over a guy or just be mad about something. And so you'd be in the quad. And it wasn't unusual. I mean, not likely maybe, but there might be the homecoming queen, or not the rodeo queen, and she might dip,
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, especially the rodeo girls, but just girls in general. Like on Seinfeld, they talk, everybody wants to see a girl fight, and that's true. And then, people pretend they don't, but if you're in high school, you definitely do. And so, I don't know, I remember these two rodeo girls got upset with one another. And so you come to the quad after lunch, and everybody knows it's going to come down, and they're kind of circling around, and everybody's in their little group looking to see where this girl is, that girl is. And then all of a sudden they bolt towards each other and collide in the middle. And then the other thing, and it's a combination of a fist and claw. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A fist and claw, which is honestly quite effective. Delivering blows, but also yanking out the handfuls of hair. And they got after it like damn. In a cat, to say they got after it like cats is not quite accurate, because there's a little more brutality in the punch there. Their daddies had taught them to punch. I bet. And I, growing up with horses and all that. So then, and then it went on for like 3 days.
Really?
At lunch, you go out there again, and they just started bolting for each other. And, in the end, I'm not sure they weren't cousins, or distant cousins or something, but I don't know. They, there were some Ruths in there. There weren't all Ruths. I mean, Wyoming's a great place, the most straightforward people on earth, and also typically do, like Mississippi, work hard, do stuff with their hands that they take for granted that other people are like, what are you doing? What are you touching? You're going to grab that? And and so the women were tough, but then, also just some, just some very delightful people, just great people. But, no, you didn't want to cross. There's definitely folks you didn't want to cross.
This is